man, I'm grinding really hard. We're doing great, but I just was burning myself out. I was trying to manage the office. I was trying to see a million patients and not drop down on my production. But being away and seeing that the associate can do it, clarity of mind. All right, my friends, the Ultimate OD podcast. This is a episode that I want you to mark. I want you to write down the episode number and go back to it. Download it to your phone. Don't delete it. This is not a one and done. You're going to have to go back to this episode at least once a year. I want to listen to this once a year. But we got some good stuff in here for you. We have the closing thought of the episode. This is the Ultimate OD podcast. Here we go. All right, my friends, the Ultimate OD podcast. Thank you for listening, tuning in, all your likes, your follows. It's a good day. We are in quarter two. We had a good Q1. There's a little uncertainty in the world right now in terms of tariffs and economy, all that fun stuff. But I am still a huge believer that optometry is needed. We saw that during COVID. There's been the 2008 recession. There's been a lot of things that have hit us. We will be fine. But as I was talking to some of my friends this weekend, pigs get fed, hogs get slaughtered, right? We have to be efficient. We have to know what to focus on, and we have to take care of business. Don't get too far away from your core principles, your core values. And this episode isn't going to go too far into that. We'll have that for future episodes. But this is a call, a reminder, a red alert, a PSA for all of you listening to this podcast. You need to give yourself breaks to make yourself grow. It's the one step back to take two steps forward. As I told you last episode, I was leaving for spring break and then I had a conference. So I was out Thursday, Friday, had the weekend, Saturday, Sunday. And then Monday, I got back from spring break and I had to leave Tuesday at 5. Every other year, I would have said, I have time. I'm going to see patients on that Tuesday. We had a long delay, got in a little late, and thank goodness I didn't see patients on Tuesday. That was a huge win for me. Helped because I had my associate there seeing patients, and that's been a huge win. But then I was gone the entire week, have another weekend, and on Monday I go back to the office. But it was 11 days outside the office. And going in after Q1, after the move, I had a lot of stress. And you guys listen to past episodes. I tried to keep you in the loop on that. The ups, the downs, and it's really starting to click. Looking at the revenue for the new doctor when I was gone, and it was pretty good. I'm very proud of the business. That's a huge win. And I always say that I've had a really good job the past 13 years. When I can be away and it can operate and function without me, I've now created a business. And I do not have an ego. I do not have this mindset. I think I've heard this a lot. Like, those are my patients. Oh, they just won't see anyone else. They will see other people and then they really don't care. I have a good doctor that works with me, but it's not like I'm that special. Okay? And that's not reflective of me as a person. It's just we have a good office, we have a good business, a good brand. That's speaking highly of what we do as business owners. But I kid you not, I have not been outside the office for this long with zero interaction with the staff. I mean, I checked in and did a few little things, but they didn't need me at all. And that was such a relief. In 13 years. It was 13 years, really, since my honeymoon, maybe. So maybe 10 years, a decade, that I've been gone this long. And it was like rejuvenating. Okay. So not only was I in spring break, but then I went to my study group, my P3 conference. And I say this every time I get back. If you guys don't have a mastermind group, if you don't have peers that you can really sit down and share about your business, you are missing out. It is the best thing I've ever done. This is my third or fourth meeting. I think it's my third meeting. And it is the biggest adrenaline rush into my veins. And not only that, but I took time away from the office. I have such a clear mind. I know exactly what I want to do the next 6 months. And going into the week, I was a little burned out. I was tired. I was like, man, I'm grinding really hard. We're doing great, but I just was burning myself out. I was trying to manage the office. I was trying to see a million patients and not drop down on my production. But being away and seeing that the associate can do it, clarity of mind. Okay? So get out of the office. I don't know what that means for you, how you do it, but you need to get away to clear your mind, to get out of the trees, right? To see the whole forest. Okay? Now, not only that, Ben Nimitz did something called The Buried Life back in the early 2000s, 2006 to 2015. And he was the keynote speaker at the conference. And it's awesome. When you go to the P3, and again, if you want to know about P3, talk to me. I will get you with the right people. Best group I've ever been a part of in my life. Right? It might not be for everyone, but I will not stop speaking so proudly of being part of that. And the other doctors I work with, it's our third one. My study group, we're Fuji. Great, amazing doctors, and they're starting to be my friends. Like after this time, we're investing in each other. We like each other, and there's a respect. It's amazing, right? But there's another group called I don't know. They're the big dogs. They have like four more doors. We have one-on-one conferences with them. We have a group meeting. So the 1 million or more offices, and then the four doors or more offices have a day, and it's been eye-opening because they're speaking to everyone. And in my little world, I was like, oh, what are we going to use it or lose it benefits? Are we going to get Mrs. Johnson her glasses tomorrow? That's what my mindset was. They're talking about 10-year economic forecast. Tariffs were a big talk. Obviously, it's big on everyone's mind. But how do we beat that? We talked about big picture things. That's so cool, right? That's the perspective. That's the mindset we need to have as CEOs of our practice, right? That paradigm shift. Okay. So in that group meeting, one of the things they did was Ben Nimitz, the buried life. And he talked about his book is called The Bucket List Journal, I believe. And essentially, there was a time where he told a story, and then he has a plan. He has a book called The Bucket List Journal. It's a New York Times bestseller. Gave us a copy of the book, but there were 10 categories, 1 through 10, and talked about relationships, personal life, professional goals, um, intellectual goals, right? And we had 10 minutes, and you had to go through each section and just write down things you want to do. One of like things I wanted to learn. One, I put like poker and chess. I put that on there. One of the goals that I had, material things that you want to spend stuff on. And I showed it to my wife. I told her, but I want to make her just amazing bakery in the house. Like, she loves to bake. I hate baking. I hate the food. I hate everything about it. But I'm like, it'd be really cool if I could do that for her. And we've been talking about what can we do to make that, right? And you went through and you listed all those things. And some of them was like, goals, 10-year goals or life goals. Just I don't know the categories. I should have the book in front of me, but look it up. And we went through with that, and I had an amazing doctor that sat next to me. I made a friend, right? And we were talking, and like one of her goals was to see her sons be financially set for life. And one my thing was I wanted my four kids to be happily married, healthy, and like still have their faith, right? That was my thing. And the guy had asked the question. He goes, "You have all those goals, and now I'm going to give you a genie, and your genie will make anything you do in there, any of those goals happen." And his question was, "But if that one thing happens, the other goals will not. What would you want?" It was just mind blowing, right? It put me in a perspective outside of the office, and we talked about this with it started a great conversation amongst the other doctors of our professional goals, but our personal goals. And like I talked to people that were like great, their business goals were set, they're living it, but personally they were lacking. And some that personally were doing great and professionally were feeling the other way. Very few were great personally and well off professionally. Okay? And we spend so much time putting our effort, our energy into the business. We put our heart and soul in that. And remember, the business will never love you back. Okay? The business is there to serve us, to serve our lifestyle. Build your lifestyle and have the business work around that, right? We've talked about that before, and that's something that I've really tried to do, and I'm starting to do it, guys. I'm so jacked up and pumped that I'm making my life be the way it is and building the business around it. But because they gave me that perspective, I had time to think and just be away. And when I was got done on Thursday night, I flew home Friday. I sat and on the way to the airport, had a good conversation with my taxi driver. He's from Ethiopia. His daughter's in medical school at Northwestern, and she's just killing it. And I was like, and I talked to him from a father's perspective, man. You have got to be so proud, and good job for you to raise a daughter that is going to be a pediatrician that has options. She matched where she needed to be. These conversations don't just happen, right? When you look back on your life, you'll see the fingerprints of a higher power on your life, right? That's what I like to believe. And you look back and like, if this didn't happen at this time, I wouldn't be here today. But we get so caught up in the rat race, in the nuts and bolts, the day to day, that we lose sight of how lucky we are and where we're at and what we can do to help others. Like one of my goals was to mentor other optometrists. Love that idea, right? And that's why I do the podcast. Well, honestly, I do the podcast for my own journal to myself, but I've met so many great people through the podcast that I love what it does. Right? And got to the airport, didn't put on my headphones, kind of went through security, and I had 2.5 hours till I got on my plane. And I literally just pulled out my journal and started writing as much as I could. Looked at the notes I took from the conference, put stuff down, and I kid you not, I'm going to try and get it all done in 6 months before I go to my next meeting, and have to be accountable to my group of peers that are making me a better doctor. That hopefully I help raise their level a little bit. But I probably have 2 years of stuff written down that I'm going to try and happen in 6 months. But it's because I took the step back, that time away from my practice, that I'm going to grow astronomically. I'm going to make, I couldn't, I woke up Saturday and I texted 3 different people, like just juice that I had. Like, hey, associate doctor, got this idea. Another doctor got this idea. Staff member got this idea. Just texting away because I got energy. I got juice right now. Planning out, how am I going to make this work? How do I get these things together? I talked to my wife. We went for a walk for like an hour and a half. Good almighty, right? And I just didn't stop talking the entire time. And I only gave her like a fraction of what I've been thinking about. And she got really mad at me. She's like, why won't you tell me? And I'm like, I need to work it out before I get any other input, right? And that's, when I get done with this podcast, I got more work to do. And I was literally burned out. I was like, I can't wait to get done with the workday and get out of the office. And now, not only am I like jacked up, but I'm like, I now know what I need to do to work on the business. Like I had a minute there where I'm like, I have another doctor, I can do other things, but I'm just going to keep seeing patients. If I'm in the office, I don't like not seeing patients. Well, that's a limiting belief that was not allowing me to grow. And again, I had to get to a certain point, but now I know what I'm going to spend my time on. On Fridays, I don't see patients, and the staff don't expect me to be there. Again, I'm probably going to be there and working on things, but I don't want to see staff stuff. I would say I do it at home, but I have distractions at home. I need to get away But I have a lot of different ideas of how I'm going to do that. But again, all these things I'm telling you, I hope you see the energy and juice I got right now because I took time away from the business. So this episode is a little different than what you were expecting. You tuned in and you're like, what is he going to tell me? What can I do for my office that's going to make it better? I'm giving you the juice. I'm giving you the secret pill that these other doctors do. They have a peer group where they can get away. They can talk about higher level things, not the day-to-day operations. They have an outside perspective that not only understand the industry, but they're amazing at what they do. Like, for what every other doctor's accomplished, I'm small potatoes. I'm in there trying to give them benefit, give them feedback, and they appreciate my insight because I can see clearly because I'm looking at their office with no emotion. Just, hey, this is what it seems like to me, right? They do the same thing to me. They're looking at my business, and one of the biggest things they said is like, hey, you're really excited, you're really energetic, and you're sprinting. This is a marathon, man. Just it'll get there. Take your time. And I'm like, thank you for telling me this because I really don't know. When you're your own, you're just looking yourself in the mirror. You don't know if you're doing good. You don't know if you're doing bad. You're just not where you want to be. And if you're not getting the right input, you don't have the right people to lean on. And sometimes it's like, hey, you have to change. It's you that are the problem, right? We have enough confidence to tell each other that. But you don't know. You're going to get burned out. You're going to get depressed. And I have dealt with burnout. I've done with that. And like, it takes a lot to burn me out. But I know when I'm going hard and I know I'm going soft, right? It wasn't like I was going slower, but I wasn't as energized as I am right now. And this juice will only last so long, but because I'm accountable, I have a focused set of goals. 3 goals I wrote down that I'm going to just have staring me in the face for the next 6 months. I'm going after it, right? So the moral of this story is if you want to grow your business, if you want more out of life, if you want to take all the gifts you've been given and use them for your business, outside your business, you need to take a step back. Get out of your office. And it's not enough to just be away, because if I would have went on vacation and came back, that would have been good. Absolutely, I would have had more energy, but I would not have had the focus that I have right now, right? Get a peer group. And it's not enough to just say, hey, I have people that I text, or I have a phone call that I do. That's good. Do that. But do they know your books? Are they able to say, hey, you're doing this in a way that I wouldn't do this? Or do they know deep, are you like full transparency? Or are you telling them what you want? Are they seeing the side that you want them to see? Because that's what we do. We never want to look like we're not as good as we're the Facebook and Instagram of life, right? Tell them all the good things. Everyone's so happy and living a great life. Their practices are thriving, is what we like to see and say. That's what the image that we put out there. But when your numbers and stuff are out there, and you can have you leave the ego at the door and you say, hey, my cash flow wasn't where it needed to be. I've had a really rough time with staff. I can't find a doctor that I need that will stay with me, right? That's tough, especially among successful peers. But in an environment where everyone's trying to get better, you build each other up, man. You have so much perspective. That's what you need. So 2 action items here. 1, you need to get out of the office a little bit. Get out of the day-to-day, okay? And 2, you need to get an accountability group. You need to get a peer group. And it's not enough to just get a bunch of other doctors. We tried that on this in the past, and it was great. I have a lot of people that I still connect with, and I love hearing from them. But the problem was, if you're all at different levels, it's not going to be the same. If you can get in a group where you have people that are above you, absolutely, more power to you. But you need people at your level or above. Now, if you have people that are above you, bless their hearts for mentoring you, giving you insight, advice, because you're going to give them some perspective, but there's less that you can offer. If you listen to the nature of my podcast, as I've learned more, been around these bigger practices, I realize how little I know. When I was 2 years ago giving this podcast, I was like, I'm ready to talk at Vision Expo. I want to talk at conferences. I want to give advice. And the more I learn, I'm like, I still think and I still aspire to do that. I'm probably, selling myself short a little bit. However, I know what I don't know now. Like my eyes have been open. And I'm like, all the things I've talked about at the time, yeah, they're useful, but they're not the big rocks that make the office better. They're the little pebbles and stuff and sand that you put in that container to fill it up after you got the rocks in there. Now that I know the big rocks, that's what I'm focusing on. That's what I try to talk about more. And it's because of the environment I've surrounded myself with. Like you are the sum of the 5 people you hang out with the most. Level up, my friends. That's what I have for you. With more for you next week. Where has the time gone? We are to the closing thought of the episode, and this is something that I took a note of. I don't know where it's from or what's about, but I just read it again. I'm like, yeah, this is exactly what I want us to think about. This is a summary of the episode that we just have. Business is an evolution. At first, you're trading time for money. Then you're hiring employees to get some time back. Then you build processes to take you out of the business. Right? The successful folks succeed at the third and hardest step. Right? That third and hardest step, building processes to take you out of the business. The people who fail try to skip the first two. Trading time for money and hiring employees to get some time back. So moral of the story is, if you are trading time for money, if you're got a really good job, perfect. That is necessary to get to that third step. If you try to just build processes, don't pay your dues, you're never going to get it right. Okay? So as I read that myself, the thing that resonated was, I'm like, man, I'm such an idiot. Why didn't I figure this out sooner? It's because business is an evolution. You have to take those steps, right? And I did one, hardcore. I'm now on 2. I hired some employees to get some time back. Okay? I'm trying to do number 3. Stick around. Listen to the podcast. Hit me up. We're going to do this together, friends. We're all going to get to that point. That's my goal for you. That's my goal for me. That's the beauty of the business that we're in. That's what I have for you. Dr. Lily out.